Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I have an anniversary card to share with you that's a bit different, so let's jump right in. So I am going to start by foiling my sentiments. I love a hot foiled sentiment, but for some reason I don't bust my foiling machine out very often. I'm not totally sure why, but I had to for this. So I brought out the Yana's Special Sentiments Hot Foils and Dies, and that's going to be my sentiment. And then I also brought out some silver foil and my Glimmer hot foiling machine. I like to use my Big Shot with my Glimmer hot foiling machine. I believe you can use the Switch, which is what I have. I have a Switch Plus from Sizzix, but I've never used the Glimmer hot foil with it just because I have my Big Shot and I just tend to use that with this instead. So you're going to see my Big Shot pop up here in a second. And I used some silver foil, and I did use this cool foil quick trimmer as well. That just makes it so that I don't waste any foil when I'm working with the foil, because I find it doesn't cut nicely when I'm trying to cut it with scissors, so I just use that instead. So I'm going to prep my foil here to go, and then I don't tape anything down. There is this cool hinge method I've seen other people use. I just kind of wing it and hope that it's going to work out well. You might want to do the hinge instead, but I find that I haven't had a lot of issues with this, so that's kind of what I end up doing. And I am making 2 cards. As you guys know, I've been doing that recently because generally when I'm making some cards, usually it's because I need something. And then I make a second one to go into the Gen Pop of my collection. And then usually I sell those at markets and whatnot. So I do tend to make at least 2 cards now, just because that's kind of a good way to keep a bunch of cards on hand, either to sell to people or to use myself, whichever ends up happening first. Now I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't like this card while I was making it. It's not that I didn't like it, it's just that it wasn't going quite the way I could see it in my head. Generally, when I sit down to create, normally I have an idea in my head of what I want the card to look like. And this one ended up being a bit not what I could see in my head. And so, not that it's bad, there's nothing wrong with this card. I think it turned out really pretty, but this is one of those things where you really have to give your project a chance and kind of keep going, even though, maybe it's not going the direction you were hoping it was going to go. So I brought out the Simon Says Stamp Dimensional Stars 3D embossing folder, and I'm going to run it through my Big Shot because, once again, it's sitting on my desk at this point, so I just used it. And I am creating 2, so you will see 2 panels. And now this technique, I actually recently saw it in the Tim Holtz Christmas Hoopla, where he took a 3D embossing folder, he ran it through his machine, and then he started coloring the negative side. I don't know if that's the right word for the not popped up side, so then you color it, and then you use like a black ink pad and you rub it over top. So that is what we're going to do. And I wanted to do rainbow because you guys know that if you've been with my channel for a little while, you know that I love rainbow. Rainbow is probably my favorite colors because I love bright and vibrant. That is just my jam. I've always loved bright and vibrant colors. So that's just what I went towards, but this would be beautiful if you wanted to do ombre stars instead, start with a light color, go to a dark color. There's so many color palettes here you could do. I just chose to do rainbow because I haven't done anything that bright recently and I thought it would be fun. But just keep in mind, you literally could use any colors and that would look beautiful here. So I'm going to trim my panels down. I should have done this before I ran it through my 3D embossing folder, but I forgot. So it was standard size A2, and then I ended up just trimming it down about 1/4 of an inch, but I went around doing 1/8 of an inch on each side so that I wasn't going to have, full-on stars cut off. And then for my mat, I'm going to use some silver cardstock that matches that sentiment that I did, and it's going to be cut down to 1/8 of an inch smaller than my base. So you're going to see here kind of what I'm talking about with the layers. You get like a thin border around each of my layers, and I love it. So then I'm going to start coloring it. And this is pretty much my favorite rainbow color palette. I have picked raspberry, carved pumpkin, squeezed lemonade, twisted citron, mermaid lagoon, and wilted violet. And yes, right now mustard seed is sitting there. That's only because I grabbed the wrong yellow. I will trade it out when I actually get into the yellows. And I was being really delicate here. You don't need to be this delicate when you do the colors. When I did my second panel, because I did this panel first, When I did my second panel, I actually used my blending foams and just did it that way instead because it made more sense to me. But for this one, I'm like, oh, I'll be, really gentle and delicate and I'll try to keep all the color in the little spots. Nah, I didn't do it this way on the second one. I'm not going to show you coloring the second one. I'm only going to show you coloring this once. And of course, this is sped up a vast amount. Now, here's where I think I went wrong with this card. If I had done all my coloring and then I had put it back in the 3D embossing folder, lined it up perfectly, of course, and then embossed it, I think that this would have turned out more what I saw in my head. But I didn't do that because I don't know why. I guess hindsight is 20/20. And I didn't do that. So when I go to add the black on top, it's not going to lay down the color the way I kind of thought it was going to. And that's on me. It's because my 3D effect is not as 3D at this point. I've cut it. I'm pushing on it to add ink. So really, if you want a crisp look, make sure that you actually, run this through your embossing folder again before you add the black on, and you will get a better effect. At least I assume so. I didn't do it. And if you're okay with the more messy, more imperfect look, then don't do it. And you're going to get the same look I got. It's just that if you want more of a specific look, a more clean look, do run it through the embossing folder again, and you will get, a bit more of a clean look to your colors. And so you see here, I'm just wiping off my little brushes. I don't own many of these little brushes. I should have just used my blending foams and then just run it back through my 3D embossing folder, but it's one of those things. Like I said, hindsight is 20/20. I didn't think of that when I was doing this, so it didn't go that direction. And the problem is you can't really ink. Well, maybe you could. Maybe if you did a full-on blend of the background and then ran it through your embossing folder and then added the ink on top, you might get kind of the better effect. I don't know. I'd have to try it, or one of you try it and tell me how it goes. But I just kind of, went with what I was thinking here. And I leaned into the more mixed media effect as I was going. That wasn't my intent in the beginning. But because of how this card kind of ended up that direction, that is how I ended up kind of going with that look. So here you can see I used my VersaFine Onyx. Sorry, I think it's Nocturne, actually. VersaFine and VersaFine Clair and VersaFine are like the same ink, and I have both, so I can get confused. But this is the Nocturne, and it's a beautiful black ink. And I think the problem here is that because my stars aren't quite as indented as they were, I'm getting a little bit of that black ink into the stars. Now again, it's fine. I'm going to lean into it, but when I originally imagined this in my head, that isn't the direction that they were going to go, right? So keep that in mind. Nothing wrong with this look, but if you want a more crisp look, I would re-emboss your background after you've added your color, just to get that kind of look. And then I am going to run my little sentiments through my little Sidekick. I have many die cutting machines, as you can see. I didn't even use my switch at all for this one, just because I didn't feel it was necessary. These sentiments are so small that the Sidekick is perfect for this, and the Sidekick sits pretty much in front of me when I'm creating, so it's super easy to just grab and use. So I ran it through with its matching little dies, and then I have my sentiment kind of prepared. So this is where we're going to lean way more into the mixed media side of what I'm kind of creating. I'm going to add a bunch of splatters. I'm going to add some string, or I guess thread. I'm going to add, well, it's not really thread either. Twine, I guess it would be. I'm going to add, a wax seal. Like, I'm going to lean into the mixed media now because that's what this feels like to me. So I'm going to add some splatters. This is a silver acrylic ink that I have on hand. And then I'm going to add some white splatters as well, just to give it a more mixed media feel, a bit more of a messy look, because I think that's kind of where my panel was going, and I'm going to lean into it. I do firmly believe in using what you've got, and you just keep going with it and see where you get to. Because generally when I'm unhappy with a card, by the end I've sorted whatever my issue was with it, and then I like it. So keep going, give it a chance. And, worse out of worse, if I had not liked this, you could cut it up into strips or something and use it in a journal or use it in an art project or something else. So or cut it into like heart shapes or something. You could use this in so many different ways if you didn't end up liking the card. Luckily, by the end, I did enjoy what I had made, but it did take me a little bit to get there. So just keep that in mind as you're creating, that sometimes, you have to give it a minute, and it's okay not to like what you're making. There's nothing wrong with that, but just try to give it a little room to become what you're hoping it's going to be, and then kind of work with that. So I added some white and silver thread here, or twine, whatever you want to call it. And I kind of just looped that around 3 times just because, again, I like uneven numbers. I think they look cool. And now with the wax seal, you could, of course, do it on the glass mat and then adhere it on top. I like the look of when it kind of runs around things. I just like that. So that's obviously going to be a very personal choice as to whether or not you enjoy that look. There's no right or wrong, completely up to you. It's just that I really like that look, so that is what I'm going to lean towards. And now, quick note, I'm going to have a video here up in a little bit, that's going to give you guys some announcements for the plan for the channel for January. But I do want to say thank you guys so much. I hit 10,000 subscribers and I'm ridiculously excited about it. I am filming a little in advance, so because I do have some, it's December, so I have Christmas plans and I have a little traveling to do and whatnot. So I am a little ahead. I'm also a little behind on comments. So if I haven't responded to your comment, I'm sorry. It's on my list. I try to answer the questions really quick, but sometimes I, get a little behind on everything else. And I do want to respond to all the comments because I greatly appreciate you guys, taking the time to leave them for me. So I will respond to all the comments, but I am a little bit behind. But just wait until I tell you what the plans are for January. I'm very excited to share that with you guys, and hopefully that will be up here pretty quick. I just have a couple other videos I have to get ready first, and then that'll be on the docket. So look forward to that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for subscribing. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy my content, I'd love if you'd consider subscribing too. The channel is growing at an exorbitant rate, and I am so excited about it. We're getting closer and closer to my dreams of making this my full-time career. So every comment and like and subscription, they help the channel, and I greatly appreciate you guys. So thank you so much. And to the people who've joined my members, thank you so much. I will talk about that in that announcement video as well. But I did add memberships to the channel, and I've had some people sign up, and I didn't think people would. It's one of those things. I was a bit nervous, but I've had some people sign up. So thank you so much to the lovely ladies who've signed up. I greatly appreciate you so much. So thank you. So yeah, you saw me adhere everything. I did add some foam tape to the back of the card panel just so that I could go around the twine and not have it kind of make a weird hump in the card, which it would if you tried to adhere it flat. And I did use just my Big Mama foam tape, so it's very flat. It's only 1/8 of an inch in width, so it's super flat. So it doesn't add a lot of bulk, but you still get some beautiful dimension from it. And then I brought in these thin 3D foam squares as well, just to pop the sentiment up a little bit and give it a little bit of its own moment against that really dark background. I thought that would just kind of add a little something to it. And then, of course, because you guys know I can't resist, I am going to bring in my holographic stars. Besides the pearls that I'm crazy in love with, the stars have to be my second favorite embellishment to add to cards. These are holographic stars. They've been in my stash now forever. I love them so much, and I will hopefully try to find some that you guys can purchase as well. I know the ones I bought aren't available anymore, so I will do my best to find you some, but they are my second favorite embellishment. I love them so much. And then I'm going to hold these cards up so you guys can enjoy them in all of their glory. I think they turned out stunning. I'm really excited about them. So I hope you also enjoy them. And yeah, so leave me a like, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do new videos every Monday and Thursday, and I have live streams on Thursdays as well, every second Thursday. The schedule's a bit off at the moment just because of Thanksgiving for the States and then Christmas, so I'm a little all over the place, but it is posted. There will be a thumbnail in the live section if you're at all interested. They happen every second Thursday at 3 p.m. PST, so you can come and hang out with me. There's usually a lot of great people who come and just hang out and chat and visit, and it's really fun. So if you're at all looking for a really happy, sweet community, you can come and hang out with us because we're pretty great. So that is the card I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys again very soon for the next Christmas card in the Monday series. So I will see you there. Bye-bye for now.